An HBCU was targeted by MAGA. What does this mean for communities of color around the country? Hi, I'm Melba Pearson, also known as the Resident Legal Diva, and this is The Breakdown. So a group carrying signs and wearing Make America Great Again hats were escorted off the campus of Tennessee State University. And this was after hosting an unauthorized public demonstration. They were carrying signs that were basically saying DEI should be illegal and that deport all illegals now. And they were inviting HBCU students to debate with them. So this group was called the Fearless Debaters, and they entered the campus carrying these signs, and they tried to draw students into conversations centered around these issues. And they were trying to frame it as debate and all of this. But the real goal was provocation. Because of course, if you're coming in with these type of signs, that's not trying to have a conversation, you're trying to have a fight. So the students, of course, were having none of it. So they whipped out their phones, they were recording, but they were peaceful and they ran their behinds off of campus. The campus police came and, of course, escorted them off because, again, these people were not students. They did not have a permit to be able to be on campus because, again, campus, they get to dictate who should and should not be on the property. It's basically private property. So they were removed from campus. The students sent them packing peacefully, and it was a beautiful sight to behold. And it was clear from all of this that they were trying to antagonize the students because of the way that they were approaching the discussion. And I definitely commend the students for keeping their cool and for campus security standing on business and being like, we're not having any of this here. But it's extremely concerning because now we're seeing an increase in these types of, I will call them incursions. So in the wake of the murder of Charlie Kirk, basically the day after, multiple HBCUs received death threats, received threats of violence, and again, causing these schools to end up going on lockdown. Terrorizing the students, they were forced to have the shelter in place, ordeal for the family and the surrounding community, all of that. But this is also part of a more disturbing trend. And when you think about these incursions, like as I'm mentioning, there was an incident, for instance, in Ohio where white extremists marched into a predominantly black neighborhood, again, with the purpose of intimidating and trying to create a situation where these folks could probably use violence. Now, again, the folks in that community ran them off. And now, as a result, that community is starting to patrol themselves in terms of making sure that their families are safe, kids are able to go back and forth to school, and keeping an eye on whether or not there are people that don't belong or trying to cause problems. But the underlying mindset that's driving all of this is also reflected in the words coming from the White House. So also, the president has come out, and this is nothing new, but he came out again and attacked Representatives Jasmine Crockett and Ilhan Omar. And of course, he's making these racist tropes. He's, talking about, deporting Representative Omar, and he's, attacking Representative Crockett's intelligence, which is something he loves to do to Black women because Black women stay living rent-free in his head, clearly. But the other part that was disturbing about this was how his top advisors were hearing these comments and they were standing around and laughing. So when you see that type of evil and disgusting attitudes being supported and put forth and celebrated by the administration, this gives license to these white extremists who think they can just roll up in spaces that are for people of color in the attempt to antagonize them, maybe try to get that race war they've been dreaming about. Meanwhile, none of them would sign up to go fight in Iraq or Afghanistan, but they want to have a war here because what? They think that people are soft targets? They need to know that FAFO is not a one-way street, right? But it's a little different when people are fighting back. And if they keep pushing, that's the situation that they're hoping to get, but it likely won't turn out the way they think it will. So it's incredibly exhausting because also, this was on the heels of many of the comments that Charlie Kirk had made about the intelligence of Black women attacking Michelle Obama, attacking Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson and others. And it's just like this continual thread of insulting people of color, especially of women of color, who have done absolutely nothing to anyone other than live their life and speak out on whatever concerns that they're seeing in their communities, in the political sphere, etc. And the sad part is, with the administration basically co-signing this type of behavior, we're going to see an escalation of this. So now, unfortunately, HBCUs are now going to have to up their security in response to these threats. And communities of color now will have to be more vigilant in terms of these types of threats, because these people, for some reason, think that this is their time to be able to violate the sovereignty and the rights of others, and the right for people to just exist. And let me tell you something, as a Black woman, it's exhausting AF. It's exhausting. But I will give you this. The words of the immortal Maya Angelou in her poem, "And Still I Rise." "You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I rise." Food for thought. I'm Melba Pearson, also known as the Resident Legal Diva, and this was The Breakdown. Stay safe, stay informed, and keep demanding justice. Don't forget to subscribe to Legal AF. Take care.
I'm Michael Popak, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touches Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popak Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popak Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popak Firm today at 1-877-POPAK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopakfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popak Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.